Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. This is Two Catholic Dudes. My name is Ryan Klaus.
My name is Danny Cleary.
And as always, we are not priests, we are not theologians, we're just two Catholic dudes, and we're talking about our faith.
And we made it 20 episodes.
20 episodes. We stopped naming them for a while because we weren't sure what order they were going to be in, but we are filming this one very last minute, so it will be airing
100%. Well, honestly, depending on how long we talk, this may go into the day it actually comes out.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's 11:10 p.m. our time,
and it's going to be up at 10 a.m.
tomorrow morning.
So after a quick turnaround, a quick edit, and an upload, here it is. So episode 20, we made it. We already made it double digits.
Two.
There's no. Two. We're just there. We're there. All right. So this episode, we don't really have a concrete, solid topic, but we just thought it'd be cool to catch up on what's been going on in our lives because it's been almost a month since we filmed.
Yeah.
We filmed 5 episodes
in
really
in a 3-day period. Yeah, we filmed 5 episodes because you were moving.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to kind of hammer them out, and we've been releasing them sporadically.
Yeah.
The last episode that just came out was the episode my faith journey, but we filmed that
early
November. Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I apologize in advance, everyone, if you're listening or watching, if I have to cough because I'm still getting over being sick.
Yeah, Danny's had a rough go of it. We're in December right now. This is time of year when people get sick and get ill. So, we pray for all of you that you stay healthy in this time. I always get sick. Always get sick Christmas Eve. And, I'm
always
doing a lot.
That is a curse that you've had for a long time.
Yeah. So this year I did not give myself any solos. I'm doing 5 masses Christmas Eve and day. And I was just I'll play piano and direct, but I don't need to do O Holy Night 6 times and because I always get sick and I just can't do it.
Yeah, and it was it's sometimes I always feel like we talk about all the time where God kind of pushes how bad do you want it kind of thing, because we had this whole plan that I was going to drive down here on Thursday night and stay the night, and we'd have all day Friday to work on stuff and everything else, and then I was so sick.
Yeah, if you guys follow us on Instagram, he posted a shot.
I did. I posted a raw selfie. I was like, I'm a wreck.
Yeah, he didn't look so great, but you're feeling better today. Good enough, so
good enough to make the drive.
Yeah, they drove down here and we set up, and it's late, but we wanted to make sure that we get this out because we have not missed a Monday since we began, and we weren't going to do that just yet. And
I think that's a parallel to our faith in a little sense, because I was talking about it with one of my buddies. I was teaching confirmation before that was what I was doing this evening, and if we had missed a Monday, missed a podcast, it kind of starts a trend of we already missed one Monday, so it's not a big deal because we never missed a Monday since we started this.
Right.
And it's almost like when you miss mass on a Sunday, you're like, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal, but it is a big deal. Mm-hmm. If you treat something like it's important and like it's a big deal, that's where your actions should reflect that. And
you missed the one, and you're if you say, it's it sucks that I missed it, but it's okay, it'll be fine. But then, a month down the road, you're gonna be like, oh, something else came up.
Every time you skip, it makes skipping easier.
It makes it easier,
right?
And before you know it, the podcast is over, or you never go to mass again,
right? Or the podcast is once a month instead of once a week, or whatever it may be.
So it's making that commitment to whatever it is in life and being consistent with it. So we made that commitment from after we recorded that first episode. We said
every Monday,
no matter what. We said it's going to get hard sometimes, but we're going to do this. And that's the same with your faith life. If you make that commitment, as you should,
right, to
go to mass every Sunday, because that's part of being Catholic, stick to it.
Yeah, or even if it's just to pray every day.
Yeah.
To honestly pray every day, make it a priority in your life, set some time aside and commit to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway.
And as you see, we have a new setup here. It's going to be possibly changing every time we do the podcast.
Yep.
But I think I like the setup. So this is the place that I'm currently living, which is a little wacky setup, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we might do some here and some back at your house, just kind of mixing it up. Who knows? We got this mobile setup, so we can kind of be wherever.
Yeah.
But it's pretty sweet. So the place I'm living in has this podcasting studio already set up, and there's a few different spaces where we could have made our location here, but this is a cool backdrop. I dig it. Hopefully you guys like it.
Yeah. And those of you that are listening,
It's
we probably sound exactly the same.
We sound
no
the
matter
same.
where we are.
We got the same microphones, but it's got a very homey look, and we're in our like cozy pajamas, our lounge gear.
Hoodies, yeah.
Yeah. So, what's been going on with you? There's been a lot in my life, but let's hear about what's going on back home with you.
See, I will say that like having you leave the music department, we've definitely felt it at the parish. But like we're doing the best we can to like Mass will always happen, regardless of what music it is or whatever it is. The presence of Jesus is what it's all about.
Amen.
So excuse me. So that's really the focus always.
Yeah.
And as far as my department goes, it's retreat season. So I'm busy planning retreats and getting all that set up and ready to go. And it takes a ton of time.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about it before on the retreat episode. Like I go hard on retreats.
You do.
I want to make it the best possible thing I possibly can.
Yeah, I've been to some churches where the retreat planning is like 2 weeks before, and any skits that happen, they're like, we'll just figure it out. We'll wing it when we get to the retreat.
Well, and it's funny you say that because today, Monsignor, our pastor, I was telling him, he's like, what do you got going on today? And I'm like, I have my rehearsal for my retreat. And he's like, I love that you put so much time into getting it ready beforehand. You don't just throw it together the day of. I was like, okay, cool. I appreciate that appreciation.
Yeah. I mean, it's that preparation and that planning that make it so great. And again, we're in the season of Advent right now. Today is, it still is.
We're still good.
Gaudete Sunday.
Pink Day.
It's Pink Day or Rose Day.
If you follow as many priests as we do on Instagram, every priest posted their pink alb today.
Or you see the memes.
Chasuble.
I saw the memes where it's like a little cartoon and it says, like, Father, why isn't it pink? Why aren't you wearing pink? He goes,
Jesus rose from the dead.
Jesus didn't pink from the dead. He rose from the dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was it was the third Sunday of Advent. But what I was going back to is it's that season of preparation, right? And so you really prepare in an amazing way for your retreat. And these skits, they're so powerful. Probably a lot of you guys have seen those. What's the skit? Everything skit.
The Everything skit's like the big one. It's to the song "Everything" by Lifehouse. Yeah. Yeah,
it's just really powerful. But the kids have to put their all into it, and they have to be rehearsed and practiced and prepared. And you guys do that over about 2 months every time they meet.
Every
right?
Sunday, yeah, every week.
They do it every time. And so by the time they get to the retreat, they just have it down, and they can put their heart and soul and give it all up to the kids that are watching. And I've seen that skit probably 100 times. Every single time I cry.
Well,
that's okay. That's a third thing that I cry for.
That's
if you're
Feel
following,
the Dreams.
Feel the Dream. There was something else.
I don't remember. Saying goodbye to people or something like that. I don't remember.
Oh yeah. When I left Holy Cross, I cried a bunch.
Yeah, but it's just about because people are like, man, you spend so much time on a 5-minute skit. That 5-minute skit could have impacted someone's faith life for who knows how long. So worth it.
Yeah. And you set up a whole bunch of lights that are all connected to your computer, and that skit is so amazing because of all the dedication you put into it, not just the kids that are doing it, but all the behind the scenes stuff. And a lot of times we talked about, you're like, oh my gosh, do I really need to bring these lights again? It's such a pain in the butt to drag them over, to set them up, to get it all connected to my computer. But like without them, it doesn't have that same impact.
You got to pay attention to detail. Right. It matters a lot in all that you do. I think not just retreats, but in everything that you do. Attention to detail.
Look at this new scene. We were just setting this up, and we're like, okay, this looks cool, but we're like, there's little curtains back here,
right?
And they were up here. If you're watching, I just moved the curtain, but we're like, all right, well, we could have just hit record, but like that doesn't look as good. So like we spent a good amount of time making sure this shot looked good.
Of course.
So, like, in everything you do, make sure you take that time to put in that extra energy and dedication to it.
Yeah, because part of we had talked about before, because I was like, man, I don't get off work until 9:00 in where we live in Thousand Oaks, and
I was exhausted too.
Yeah, so I was like, we could just Skype in, and it'd be like I'll record it on my phone or whatever it may be, and we were like, no, we need to go and do a full on good recording of the show, because it matters. It does.
And in the future, if that has to happen, it does. But since we had the option, again, it's not the easy route. Yes. It was harder for you guys to drive down, and like I was exhausted too. I'll tell you about my day in a second, but like you were on the phone. I was like, I could have gone either way, but like I think God was calling us both to say yes. And this is the important thing. This is what we need to do.
It's funny because I was calling I was like, man,
I hope he says no.
If Ryan says no, then I'm out. But you're like, I'm down. I was like,
okay,
all right then we're going.
Right.
So
it's like it's good. It's like having an accountability buddy. So when you sign up for the gym, sometimes it helps to sign up with a buddy. And so you're like, I don't feel like going to the gym today, but you have somebody that's like, bro, we're going. It's leg day.
It's something I'm actually gonna start at my next meeting with my retreat, my leadership team. I'm doing mass accountability partners.
Yes.
So it's someone that texts you like every Sunday, like, did you go to mass? Because I want them to motivate each other. Like I could tell them all day long. But like, if they kind of push each other, it could be cool.
Buddy system,
right?
Power in numbers, like but it's really true. Have somebody that will hold you accountable for going for, the important things in life.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyways, how was your day? What's going on? Tell me all about the new parish.
Oh yeah, so you guys haven't seen it, or we haven't had a podcast since I've been at this new parish. I've been here about 3.5 weeks now, and it's been a wild ride. Let me tell you, it's like a speeding train, and they're just like, all right, try to run and catch up to it, but we also expect you to be the conductor.
Sure. You're like learning what does this knob do?
If you're not on board, this train's going to crash.
Right.
But like, we're not going to stop for you. And I'm coming in right at Advent. And so
I just envision the cartoons of when everyone has to drive a train, they're like, just pull the brake, and the brake like comes off when they pull
oh
it.
no.
Like, now what?
Dude, it's exactly like that. It's crazy. So like, they're like, all right, here's your office. I'm like, cool. They're like, all right, well, get to it. Like, okay. Like,
this is Ryan, who's never had an office before.
Yeah, they're like, here's all your keys. Day one, they gave me a tour around the whole church, and my pastor, Father John, he's awesome. He's really cool. But he's like, here's all your keys. This unlocks this does this. He gave me the whole tour. But then he's like, all right, any other questions? I'm like, I don't know what to ask right now. He's like, all right, well, these are the things that are coming up. But then like one by one, things just kept getting thrown on my desk. I'm like, this is my job too. And like, in addition to music, I'm the liturgy director as well.
Right.
And so I'm in charge of like all things liturgy. But what I didn't know was like I'm supposed to be scheduling like the Eucharistic ministers, the lectors,
ordering the wine,
altar servers. Yeah, somebody called me the other day and they're like, "Hey Ryan," it's somebody from like the environment or the help set up the church.
Right,
like,
right. The decorating committee.
They called my phone on my desk. They're like, "Hey, we're running low on altar on wine. So can you go ahead and order that?" I'm like, I have no idea. They're like, yeah, I don't know. Just check your file somewhere on your computer. There's probably an order form, or like, I don't know. Just figure it out. I'm like, great. So I call like my business manager, and she's like, I don't know.
Like, just go to Ralph's and just.
No, I was like, guys, I don't have time for this because I'm also directing a full adult choir. I have a couple of different ensemble groups, and then a children's choir, kindergarten through 5th grade. Which I've never done before. That's a wild ride.
That's different for you.
We had our first mass together this morning, and like the kindergartners, they're adorable, but like sometimes they don't even know where they are. They're like falling off their chairs. There's like parents, they're throwing their music around.
They just like give up halfway. They're just like, I'm done with this now.
Pretty much,
like,
yeah. So I'm like, I have so much on my plate, and I'm like, I don't have time to. I don't know what you want from me, but I cannot order this wine right now. I don't have time to put into it. So like, all of my days have been 12 hours at minimum, 12 to 14 hours. Just like every little job that I'm doing should take 5 minutes, but it's taking like an hour because I have to set up a new system for it or create a new spreadsheet or something like that. So it's been a change for me. I think it's going to settle down because I don't think I could sustain like this. It's just like insane. I go there, I come back, I eat, I sleep, and I go back.
Jeez.
Yeah. So like yesterday I played a wedding in the morning, a funeral in the afternoon, 5 o'clock mass, and then there was like a Christmas party an hour away that my roommate and I went to. Got back home at 2 a.m. and then played 3 masses this morning. So like when you called on the phone, I was like, oh boy, it would be very easy to say no right now.
Right.
But again, where's the priorities?
Sure.
We made this commitment, and there's a lot of people that are counting on this podcast. I think so, from what we hear.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is, I think that our listeners and the people that are like really dedicated and like are like sitting there waiting for it to come out at 10 a.m. and like God bless all those people, but like they would understand, say if we were like, hey, like I'm sick, we're busy, we live far now, but like because they would be so understanding is why I didn't want to miss a week.
Yep.
I didn't want to let those people down.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. And we do have Patreon members too. You know,
Hey, we got a couple. We had a new one, I think, the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I didn't have time to check.
Yeah, I
but,
think
like,
we got a new one the other day.
awesome. Thank you guys for your support. And essentially, those people are paying the bills for us to do this podcast. So
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
another reason why we need to keep going.
And we are working on. I have a couple artists that I'm talking to. So I'm shirts, mugs, things like that. We do want to get those rolling eventually. So
Absolutely.
just stay tuned. It'll happen.
Nice.
Hey, go ahead.
Pretty soon we're gonna get on. We tried to get him on an episode earlier, but like I'm living currently with the Basic Catholic. If you guys aren't following the Basic Catholic, go check him out on Instagram. He's doing some pretty awesome things.
Yeah.
But we want to get him on a podcast very soon. But
Yeah.
he's like living in the same building that I am right now.
He's a busy guy.
He's very busy though. So him, and then I got connected with Catholic Connect.
Yeah, they shared us on Instagram, and we got literally almost 1,000 followers. So.
Yeah. So we're gonna some future episodes that could be pretty cool. I get to go to SLS the week after Christmas as well. That's the Focus conference in Phoenix. I'm gonna be going with the group that I'm staying with here. I'm part of it. It's a
retreat center.
It's a retreat
right?
center, yeah. So we're kind of going to support that ministry, but they're going to let me support Two Catholic Dudes as well.
Awesome.
So I'll be kind of just networking for us. And if you guys are at the SLS conference, definitely come say hi. I won't like have a central location where I'll be, but I'll be walking around. So if you guys see me, do say hi. I'd love to meet you guys, to say hello, get you on the vlog, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's SLS in Phoenix in like December 30th, I think.
Awesome.
Through New Year's.
Cool.
So I'm excited about that for sure.
Right on.
Yeah.
So what we were going to talk about today, we were doing a little catch up and things like that. But what we actually wanted to talk about a little bit is the question we get asked the most on every Q&A we ever do, all of our YouTube comments, is always, how do you deal with your family members that don't practice their faith or don't go to church? And excuse me, guys. And I wanted to touch on this a little bit because of it's holiday time. It's the time where you pretty much see all your extended family. And, it can be difficult when you're a super practicing Catholic or you're very on fire about your faith, and some of the people that you love the most or you're closest with don't share that same love of Christ and of the church.
Yeah, either they used to be on fire and they fell away.
Right.
Or they never were. Or they have issues. Well, that could be a both and situation, but they have issues with the Catholic Church, or they have issues with you and your faith.
Right.
Their animosity there. But I think generally it's usually just people that are falling away.
Yeah.
I have people in my life personally, close family members, my brother and sister-in-law and their family and all her sisters, they actually met in our church. And one thing led to another, and now they are not practicing Catholics at all. I don't even think they would consider themselves Catholics at this point.
Right.
Which is hard. It's hard to take in for my parents and my brother's wife's parents as well. Like, that's really difficult to see.
Sure.
So like the question was like, how do you deal with those kind of situations, right?
I think that what I would say on how to deal with it is always to love them. Love them the way that Christ calls you to love them. Be an example of Christ's love always, regardless of where they're lining up, regardless of how they're feeling. If you're a living example of Christ's love and you always treat people in that sense, and not be afraid to speak on your faith and be like, well, why are you like this? Be like, well, this is what God calls me to be. I think that's an inspiring thing, because I'll tell you, at Thanksgiving, Ryan came with me to Thanksgiving with my family, and
thank you, by the way.
Of course,
that was so nice.
It was super fun. But like, how many of my relatives were asking about the podcast?
Pretty much all of them.
They were like, "Oh, I love what you're doing." Like, and I have family that are like, they don't identify as any religion or anything like that, but they were at least asking about it. And
there was even remember a girl that was there who was like a friend of a friend, who she asked us about what we did, and then
Right.
we asked about what she did.
Yeah.
And she works for like a YouTube channel that does like
Prank videos and stuff.
it's real bad stuff, but she said it like she was almost like second guessing her life choices as she was hearing about what we were
Right.
doing, you know. But everyone at the table was talking about it.
Yeah, and
it was great.
No, and like I don't know if that would inspire any of them to dive deeper into Catholicism or anything like that, but like it was a cool thing. It was a cool opportunity to share my faith and to live my faith authentically. And
Right.
I think that needs to be the thing is even if you have people in your life that aren't involved in the church or aren't super practicing, don't turn down your love for Christ. Don't turn down how much you love the church, how much you want to share the joy of Christ.
I would think almost like you turn it up.
Sure. Just don't be afraid. I think sometimes when we get in situations where we like, I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable.
I don't want to make
or
waves, right?
I don't want like people to like ask me questions that I may not know the answers to or stuff like that. But be proud of being Catholic. Be proud of having Christ in your life.
I know somebody who they were just talking to me about it. They went home for Thanksgiving, and all of their family now, their parents, all their siblings, stopped going to church. They moved away like a year or two ago, and everyone stopped going to church. Either they just don't want to, or they have issues with the church, or whatever. And she was like, it would have been really easy just to not to go to church that day, but she made a point to go and to let them all know that she was going. And just those little seeds of like, for one, you're not going to stop me from going to church because that's what the crowd is doing.
Right.
But two, here's why I'm going and why this is still important to me and why this is awesome. And it's so that that might be just a little seed of evangelization that you can spread to your family members.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's one. I think that's the biggest point you already made is to love them, to no matter what, just to be there, to especially if it's your family members, if it's your close friends, is to continue to be there for them, to love them, to show them respect, no matter what beliefs they have. But then I think the next step is to how can you evangelize, because that's our call.
Right.
That's our mission, is to evangelize, and we want people to feel that same love for Christ that we do. So I think it's always a mistake to be pushy about it, to try to kick people through the door. But I think it's to the way I try to evangelize is to just show them what they're missing and like show them how amazing this is. And we do that with our podcast. I do that with the Psalms that I write. And so even though most people on my Facebook friend list, although now it's a lot of them are not Catholic, right? They're like high school friends, college friends, et cetera, et cetera. They still follow me though, and they see all these things that I'm doing, and so that's a way to say like, this guy, like, he's still doing really cool things, and look at all this awesome Catholic stuff he's doing. Like, what's this about? What's this? Let me take a look at it.
Yeah, and like sometimes being known as the church person is not a bad thing at all. I love it. It's been my identity for forever. Mm-hmm. But like, I think I shared a story a long time ago. It's because of that. When someone that wasn't involved in their faith, when someone needed it the most, they were like, oh, well, Danny, I know that you're involved in your faith.
Right.
Or, sorry, guys, thanks for bearing with us. But I know how many people have sent me prayer requests over like Twitter or Instagram or something like that, because they know that I believe in God. Like, well, I guess I'll ask Danny. I know he'll do it. Mm-hmm. And that's a way of outwardly expressing and living your faith. Is, that could draw people in. The other thing that I do personally is educate yourself on the teachings and beliefs of the church. Know how to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Because you had mentioned, and this is a touchy subject for people, is people have issues, political views,
right,
scandal issues, things of that nature. But if you are not educating yourself enough to be able to talk about it, you're just like, well, I don't really know. I don't want to get into it. Then for some people, they're going, oh, well, that's why you don't even want to talk to me.
Yeah, you don't even
it.
know the answers, and like, you don't want to talk. Like, why? Yeah.
Right. And like, what I do with I have a group of young adults, and every Tuesday they come in and we talk about controversial topics in the church. And we talk about it. Because it's like, if we don't talk about it, we're just sweeping it under the rug and ignoring it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was okay. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to say, well, this is what the church says, and let's find out why. Why does the church say this? The church didn't just make up, why it believes certain things or
right.
where its views are on things.
Yeah, even if you don't consider yourself, a master in apologetics, especially when it comes to your family members who are estranged, like these things are going to come up because I think my family members, my brother and sister-in-law, I think the reason they left the church was it had to, not with as many of like the scandals and stuff like that,
right.
but it was just they weren't happy with just like the what am I trying to say? The way it was run. They're like it's just like
the hierarchy of it all.
Yeah, they just had issue. Sorry,
no, it's all good.
They had issue with that and
the power structure and where everything came from, things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but like always the answer that I have, no matter why people leave, if it's that reason, if it's because of scandals, if it's because of issues on certain topics, or if it's because they got pulled over to an evangelical church or something like that, like we have Jesus Christ here every single Sunday, right? Mm-hmm. That should be enough. But I think that goes back to that poll that came out in the summer, I think it was. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Like 70% of Catholics don't believe it's the real presence. They
don't believe it's the real presence. So like, why would that be a big deal then? If that should be the be all end all, the answer that shuts every problem down. It's like, yeah, but we have Jesus Christ and you can receive him every Sunday. But they're like, yeah, but I don't believe it's Jesus. So like, whatever. I have issue because of the teachings on sexuality or the way you guys talk about this or the way you treat people like that. It's like, no. First, here's the answers. You can receive Jesus, but then to know how to stand up and know your apologetics, because it's really important, because that answer is not going to be enough for them that we have Jesus. They're going to be like, yeah, but like, can't you talk about my issue with the church's teaching on sexuality? You're like, no, I don't really want to touch that. Then they're like, well, then I'm not really going to come back to church.
Right.
And so you got to be willing. You have to educate yourself, and I think that's wonderful. You're doing that with those kids, is because these topics are going to keep coming up, and you have to and like it's going to be the same questions. Honestly, you're going to get roughly the same questions thrown at you, and so like practice them. Have bullets in your gun to be able to shoot and be like, nope, here's why.
And there's so many articles and there's so many things that have been written by really intelligent Catholic people that you can use as resources.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Bishop Barron.
We quote him almost every episode. Yeah, Bishop Barron, Mike Schmitz.
Father Mike. There's Catholic Instagram is a beautiful thing. You can get all kinds of different opinions and different thoughts. And
you can get all the opinions.
All the opinions. And, like, you're not going to agree with everybody. Trust me, not all Catholics agree with each other.
Right.
At all. Not all priests agree with each other, not everything else. But, as you said it, like, the reason why I will never, ever fall away from the church, or why I'll never try to I can't run from it, is because I'm in love with Christ and the Eucharist.
Yeah. And no matter what, like people have faults, have issues.
Yep.
But it all comes back to, no matter what faults we have as people, no matter how messy we get, Christ is the answer.
Right.
And we have the answer in the Catholic Church.
Right. So, and I think that so when it comes down to, just to get back where we were, when you're dealing with your family that have fallen away, or that just don't believe, that whatever, is treat them with the love of Christ. That if you're a Catholic and you know Jesus, you know his love. Treat everyone with that love. Pray for them, meet them with compassion, be open to discussion, and live your faith authentically and true and outwardly.
Amen.
And
amen.
Let God handle the rest.
Amen.
So live your faith proudly, authentically, outwardly. Wear it like a badge of honor. Wear it like armor. Where it represent Christ in all that you do. Be a representative and example of Christ in everything you do, and talk about him as often as you can, and never give up on anybody. Because the second you stop, you're losing. You've already lost.
Yeah.
Even if you have to tell them 99 times, invite them to church 99 times, and they say no all of those times, but maybe one more they'll say yes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't try one more time, you don't know. You won't know.
And it does take that invitation a lot of times. I mean, I know that being a choir director, it's so hard to get people to want to join the choir because everyone has a million things going on.
Right.
They got soccer practice.
Soccer practice.
Always soccer practice. But, we all have a million things happening in our lives, and it's tough to commit to one more thing, right? But if there's something in the bulletin that says, hey, we need choir members, people aren't either, they're not going to read it or they're going to look at it and be like, nah, that they're not talking about me. They're not talking about me. But
right.
it takes that personal invitation to say, hey, you. And they look behind. No, you. I'm talking to you. You have a beautiful voice and I want you to join the choir. And they go, oh, I never even thought about that. But that gets the wheels turning, and that personal invitation sometimes is what it takes to get them there, right? So the same thing with your family members. Just keep inviting them to Mass, even if it's like Christmas Mass. Hey, I know you guys don't go to Mass much, but would
you like to join me for Christmas?
Yeah, Easter Mass. I think it'd be really great if we can go as a family, and that's again more reason why. All of our liturgies should be phenomenal across the board, no matter what. But especially Christmas and Easter, your churches need to be doing the utmost, putting the utmost care into everything they do.
You have the biggest audience.
You have the biggest audience. That's your time to evangelize so many people because all those families are going. Their kids are like, Mom, I don't want to go to church. Like the cousins are coming in. They're like, we got to do this church thing first before we can.
The CEOs.
Yeah, they're the
Christmas and Easter only.
Christmas and Easter only. And that's your opportunity. So invite your family members that have fallen away or that don't go to church and get involved with your ministries at church because those ministries are what make those masses beautiful. Put everything into it. If you're volunteering for your environment crew at your church, put everything into making those flowers or the Christmas decorations or whatever, making it absolutely beautiful. If you're involved in the choir and they're asking you to do extra rehearsals and sing all these different masses and you're like, oh my gosh, I got all this stuff with my family or whatever, know what an important role that you're playing in that liturgy. If you're a priest, Crush that homily.
Bring your A game.
Welcome everybody. I hate it when priests make everyone feel bad that they don't come to Mass normally, but make them feel so welcome.
Yeah, our old pastor Monsignor Alba used to do it really funny. He'd say at the beginning of Mass, anyone that's here that doesn't usually attend, you are most welcome. And then at the end of Mass, he always go, just a reminder, we do this every week, and you're more than welcome back next time. And I always thought it was so funny.
It's so it helps people that it breaks down the walls right there, and it's something funny, but it lets them know we want you back, yes. and those liturgies were always beautiful. And so use that as an opportunity to help them come back. But I think last thing I'll say is, you said it earlier, is you don't turn down your faith for your family members, but I think turn it up, honestly, and be an example even more so. So
turn it up, educate yourself, push yourself to learn more.
Right, because I was going to use this analogy of someone I knew musically, they were lukewarm about it, but I knew they had a really calling and a passion for music in their life, but they weren't really putting much into it, right?
Didn't have the drive.
They didn't have the drive to commit to it, and it's a lot of work to be a musician.
Especially a professional musician.
A professional musician, you have to practice, you have to work at your craft, right?
Okay.
And so I kept verbally saying, you need to do this, I can teach you, whatever, and it just wasn't sticking. And so I was I don't know what else to do besides show that person with my outward expression of my musicality and my musicianship. And I said, all right, well, I can't verbally express this, so I'm just going to turn it up to 11, and I'm going to write, and I'm going to record, and I'm going to just put everything into this. And, it didn't really work. Here's the deal. It didn't really work. But what if, because I turned it up to 11, it inspired 50 other people to be better?
And what about what it did for your faith?
And what it did for me, right?
Because I feel the same way about youth ministry sometimes. I feel like there's youth ministers that just phone it in. They're I've been doing this for a long time, I got it.
Right.
It's they're not trying to build up, get better.
Right. So when it comes to evangelizing those people in your lives that have fallen away, that have issues with the church, that have issues with your faith, or that have issues, whatever it is, they don't go to church anymore, and you want to help evangelize them. Evangelize by turning your faith up to 11, because even if you can't reach them, you might reach a whole bunch of other people, and you might grow in your faith in the process.
Love it. Anyway, so we hope that is some helpful advice for you guys that have been asking, and don't be afraid. Say grace at the holidays.
That's right. We did it at Thanksgiving, and make sure you do it at your Christmas table
coming up.
Keep sending in your questions, because that one kept pouring in. So, but any other questions you guys would like to have us discuss on the podcast, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, and if you're following us on Instagram, our direct message is open. So feel free to message us, and we've been reaching out to a couple people here and there. So, but feel free to message us. You have a 50% chance one of us will answer, because there's two of us. So like somebody will answer.
Yeah.
You just never know who it will
be.
we
right. We do love. Yeah. If you'd be like, who am I talking to? Well,
yeah.
We'll answer you. But we do love chatting with you guys, connecting with you guys. So please keep doing that. Connect with us on Instagram is our main one, but Facebook. We post a lot of our little clips from our podcast and Psalm of the Week and Tuesday Thoughts all up on there.
Yep.
On YouTube is the main spot for our podcast. But if you're listening,
then anywhere you listen to podcasts.
If you're listening, this change of scenery didn't do anything for you guys. So hope you're
go watch the YouTube video.
Yeah. And again, Patreon, thanks for the new Patreon member, I guess. Yeah. You guys are awesome. We really, really, really thank you for your support financially. If anyone is considering doing that, we would be so, so gracious. We thank you guys. It means the world to us. We will continue doing these every Monday, whatever it takes. And scenery might change, but we won't change. I don't know.
We're always growing too, man.
That's right.
Anyway,
it's a process. So hopefully, guys, you are enjoying your Advent season. We're coming up to the fourth Sunday. Hope you have a great. It's really the final Sunday of Advent.
Yeah.
So this is only, I think, 10 shopping days left till Christmas, 9 or 10 days. So get on it. It's coming up. But we will be back with our Christmas episode next week. It's gonna be crazy. I don't know what it's gonna be. We're gonna figure it out. So.
Anyways, thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Peace.
Later.